Magenta Otter here again, still in quarantine in Texas, still not sure we'll be able to take our next trip to the UK that's booked, and still contemplating my favorite things about Britain and bringing you another love story. Please give me a thumbs up and comment below because I love to hear from you. I love the British countryside. Don't get me wrong, I also love London. It's fabulous. But in the 20 plus trips I've taken to the UK, I've never only gone to London. I've also always wanted to get out in the country because it makes me so happy. And in this video, I'm going to tell you the 4 big reasons why I love the British countryside. I know people who love the mountains, or who love sitting in a boat in the middle of a lake, or who love to sit on the shore and just watch the waves. That's their happy place. Well, for me, when I land in Heathrow and we get in the car and start driving out into the country, there's one thing that just instantly lowers my blood pressure, and that's seeing rolling green hills dotted with little white sheep. It might sound kind of crazy, but every time it just makes me so blissful when I see those hills with sheep, because I know I'm back in the UK. I love seeing the fields of green and tan and brilliant colored flowers, the rock walls if we're up in the north, or hedgerows if we're in the south or the Midlands, marking the borders between the fields. I love to just stare out the window as we drive by. Thankfully, my husband is the one who does the driving. Nobody likes the way I drive in the UK. I'm gonna have to work on that one of these days. I've loved so many parts of the British countryside, from Herefordshire and Worcestershire, Gloucestershire and Warwickshire, where we've done most of our driving around. But really everywhere I've been has been so incredible. From the tiny steep roads in the Scottish Highlands to the narrow twisty roads in between little villages in Wales, to the gorgeous Yorkshire Dales, to the windswept hills in Dartmoor. I've loved it all. If you're British, tell me what part of the British countryside I need to make sure I go visit. And if you're an American, tell me what your favorite part is that you want to go back to again. Or if you haven't been yet, what you're dying to see.
Farm parks have been a family favorite part of the British countryside for us. In the US, we have zoos and petting zoos and wild animal parks, but this is different. In the UK, it's fairly common to find a small family farm where they invite visitors to come see the animals and maybe collect eggs or milk a cow. When our sons were young and we went on family vacations to Britain, we couldn't spend a week dragging them around cathedrals and museums. That would not have worked out well. Instead, we tried to find things that our sons would enjoy, and they loved visiting farm parks and animal sanctuaries, so we did that pretty frequently. My husband Ian is a big animal lover, and he enjoyed playing with the cute critters as well. I mean, who wouldn't want to hang out with some adorable baby goats, even if it involved the risk of a possible goat attack? I think these guys were trying to see if my son had chocolate hidden in his hoodie. I know kittens aren't exactly unique farm animals, but they were fun to play with too. And farm parks were always a highlight of our UK trips. Even if we were just feeding some sheep, we certainly met some animals with charming personalities. Look at these 2 characters. So, question for my American viewers. Have you been to a farm park here in the States? I don't feel like we really have them here, but if I'm wrong, please comment and set me straight. Another thing I love is visiting ancient market towns. Seeing the market cross in the center of town, like this one in Corfe Castle Village, lets you know that you are in a special place with history, like this elaborate market cross in Malmesbury, which was built in the 1400s. I'm also fascinated by old market halls, like this gorgeous old timber frame one in Ledbury from the 1700s, or this stone market hall in Chipping Campden from the early 1600s. I like to walk around the inside of these market hall structures and imagine farmers and merchants hundreds of years ago coming to the market to buy and sell. It's amazing how little these market halls have changed in all those years, except for maybe the sign telling you not to deposit waste paper or litter. Tell me in the comments what your favorite little British town or village is. One more thing I love is no matter where you are in the country, No matter how tiny the village or hamlet is, you will find a church there. And they are usually pretty ancient and interesting places. This famous 800-year-old church in Stow-on-the-Wold has a doorway flanked by centuries-old yew trees. These small churches stand in stark contrast to the soaring cathedrals which you find in big cities. Those are inspiring and beautiful in their own right, but I find the charm of a small parish church steeped in hundreds of years of history completely heartwarming. And the most personal of all the churches we visited were in two small villages. This is one. Ian is standing in the doorway of the parish church in Suckley. This church is where some of his ancestors were married 300 years ago. And this 800-year-old font is where their children were christened. And nearby in Cradley is another lovely little village hall and a church where Ian's ancestors were buried in the 1700s. It was fascinating to see the elaborate ropes used for ringing the church bells and to wander the cemetery, where I found this headstone on the grave of a young person profoundly moving. It said, "Death with his dart hath pierced my heart when I was in my prime. Mourn not for me, my dearest friends, 'twas God's appointed time." So tell me in the comments, what cute little village church do I need to visit? And now for your viewing pleasure to wind down our visit to the countryside is 7 seconds of migrating sheep to help you feel calm and sleepy.
Thanks so much for watching. On the end screen, you'll see the Magenta Otter Travels logo. Please click on it to subscribe if you haven't yet. And be sure to click the bell button so that you will be alerted each time a new video in the series comes out. And most importantly, do something good in the world today.